Yeah, it's one heart, one shot. Now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the.
Hey, what's up? How y'all doing? I hope y'all are having an absolutely phenomenal Thursday evening. Hope life has been treating you well. Casey, how you doing, man? I see you got a new setup.
We live.
With the YouTube videos, y'all. If you guys have not been seeing it, Casey, what's the series called? The 3 minutes or less. Tell the people about the series real quick, and then we will dive into tonight.
Yeah. So how to stand out in 3 minutes or less using different parts of the application, because that's our biggest question. How do I stand out? How do I become different than other students? How do I make myself and my application stand out, either within my application or compared to other people? So I'm like, all right, let's tackle this question, because this can be broken down into a bunch of different parts. So I'm breaking it down. I'm making it simple, 3 minutes or less. I'm telling you how to use different parts of your application to help you stand out, So go to our YouTube, subscribe. There's 2 videos so far. I'll probably drop the next one on Sunday. So look out for that. And we're talking about how to take all these different parts of your application and maybe a few parts outside of your application that you didn't think of and use them to stand out. So we got you. YouTube, subscribe.
Y'all go watch it. That's not what this live stream is about, but I wanted y'all to go there. If you guys want something that's really quick, easy to digest, and applicable, y'all go peep it. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel as well if you haven't already. So but tonight, for those of y'all that have not followed Pre PT Grind for long, every Thursday night, Casey and I, side note, for those of y'all that are live right now, like, say hello in the comments, say hashtag team live, just so we can, shout you out. But on Thursday nights, we like to come on here live, share something that we believe will be of value to you as a pre-PT. We're both physical therapists. We are pre-PT or PT school acceptance coaches. And we just want to make this process as easy as possible. Well, it requires work, but we want it to be as straightforward as possible. I think sometimes we take the long route without realizing it. So we want to make this as direct as possible, so that when you guys work hard, because we know that y'all actually want this, so you guys are actually going to put in the work, but we want you guys to put work towards the things that are actually going to be fruitful for you as a pre-PT. And tonight, our topic is actually titled, do you sometimes feel like you need a clean pre-PT slate to have a better chance of getting accepted? And where, what's up, Samantha? How you doing? Great to see you. And really where this topic came from was, like, there's a few students that I've spoken to in the recent past who chose PT late. So I don't know, for those of y'all that are listening to this live or on replay, like raise your hand, if you're on Facebook live or replay, if you chose PT late. And what I mean by late is you did not start college knowing that you wanted to be a physical therapist. Like, you decided to be a physical therapist your sophomore year or your junior year, or after you graduated, because some of us graduate, get a job and then come back, and what the one student I was actually thinking about was talking to me, and he was like, Joseph, I wish I knew. Like, I wish I knew that I wanted to be a PT. Like, he had chosen it during his junior year, and he was like, man, like, I slacked off my first 2 years. I didn't do well. I really didn't have a lot of focus. I didn't have anything I was really shooting for. I was changing my majors all the time. But now that I'm a junior, when I decided, like, I became very focused. Like, I was actually excited to study. I was, when I was taking my prereqs, I was like, yo, this is to get me into PT school, so I can't play around. I have to, lock in. And so he was like, man, if I only knew that I wanted to do PT when I was a freshman or a sophomore, maybe things could have been different. Would I have been a better applicant? And he was spending so much time basically saying what the title is. What if I just had a clean pre-PT slate? Now, before we dive into it, have any of you, like, say me in the comments if you've ever just felt that. Like, you've literally felt like, yo, Samantha said, I decided when I was 30. Yeah, so we're all different. But how many of you have felt that? How many of you have literally just had a moment where you're like, dang, man, like, I wish I could just go back in time and just do this all over. I wish I could just do my anatomy class over and you know, the first time instead of retaking it. I wish I could just have gotten it right the first time. I wish I wouldn't have hung out with certain people the first time. I wish I wouldn't have listened to my advisor, you know, giving up on me the first time. I wish, you know, all the little like wishes that we have. And it puts us in a really weird position where we start regretting. And as a student, as a pre-PT, what we want to discuss with you guys tonight is how to actually use it as a strength. That's what we want to discuss. Like how can we actually use that as a strength? Because y'all, we can't go back in time. Like, unless one of y'all has figured out how to time travel, we cannot go back in time. Like, we can't go back to freshman year. We can't go back to sophomore year and you know, say, oh, I could do it again. No. We can't change that. So what's the point in freaking out about it? We might as well figure out how to take ownership of the past, but also use it to our advantage. So Casey, what are some of your thoughts, man? Like, let's talk to the people tonight, because there's somebody that's really going to benefit from hearing this, that's been kind of stuck in that, you know, regret, you know, I don't know what you want to call it, little wheel of regret. And we want to help them actually look at it and say, hey, like, that happened, but here's what I can do about it now. What are your thoughts, brother?
That was me. I mean, I wish I had a clean slate when I applied again. I was like, man, if I just go back and pick physical therapy first, I would be in the class, you know, with all the people, you know, all the people we know ahead of us, you know. I was like, man, I could have just did that. Can I just go back? I would have saved so much money, so much time, so much effort, so much ink. So I know that's me. I know how it is. But at the same time, I started to look at it after, you know, zooming out a little bit and looking at my situation from a third person point of view, looking at it more so as what I have now is my clean slate. I can't change what I had done last month or last year or whatever, but I can change whatever's going to happen in the future. I can take ownership and go from there. So right now is my clean slate. Whether it was that time in January after I figured out like, hey, it's not going to happen, let's prepare for next year, or whether it's a few months down the line before I register for classes. Now is your clean slate. Today, wherever you're watching this video, wherever you're listening to this, that's how I viewed it. And that might help some people out there kind of view this a little different, because we just have to play with the cards we've been dealt. Like, I got these cards, I got to play with them. You have your cards and your life situation and your GPA situation and your GRE situation. So you got to play with them. And the schools are going to be like, hey, just give me what you have. Show me what you have on your application. And let's see how you play those cards. Because all they're doing is looking at your cards and seeing how you shuffle them around to see your hand. I mean, that's really it. Whether you have children, whether you had a 1.0 GPA, whether you had a 4.0 GPA, they're going to look at wherever you started, whatever cards you have, and judge you off of that. So now it's your clean slate. Don't be, I mean, you can be like, oh, I wish. That's going to happen. I'm not going to say it's not. I'm not going to say, hey, stop doing that, because that might not be realistic. But after you're done doing that, well, just like I was, think of it now as like, okay, now, today, tomorrow, whatever, is my clean slate. And now let's go and run from there. Because if I mess up tomorrow, then dang, I would be saying, oh, I wish I could go back to yesterday. And if you do that for another week or another month, oh, I wish I would have went back to last week or last month. And you're just wasting time and you're just wasting space on that clean slate or that clean plate, or you're using up cards that could have been used for something else. Like saying, oh, shoot, I'm applying next cycle. Shoot, I got 9-ish months or whatever between now and next cycle. If you spend, I don't know, 3 months, 2 months saying, man, I wish I could have went back in the last 3 months, you're using up your card of time of 9 months and you're throwing it in the garbage, and now you don't have that card of 9 months to play with. So yeah, before I ramble too much, that's really how I looked at it from my situation, and I hope some other pre-PTs can use that as well to help them play this game.
I love it. Like, I hope this is making sense to you guys. Like, I mean, so, and I love what you said too, that, you know, obviously we're humans. So there are times when we're going to have that moment of just semi regret. And I mean, don't beat yourself up for it. You're a human being, but just change your perspective by thinking about the stuff that we're talking about here tonight. And I think a few things that come to mind that will help you turn it into a strength is, first of all, understanding that, and Casey kind of said it, but schools love growth. They love to see how, they love to see how you've handled obstacles. Actually, one of my classmates, Dwayne Haskins, I'm gonna say his name because I've talked about this before in the podcast and all this other stuff. Our freshman year in college, when we were pre-PTs, he had a tougher start, and it was just because he was managing so many different things. But one of the things that really, really helped him get into school is by the time we were sophomores, he was like, yo, like, I want this thing bad. I don't want Joseph and, his girlfriend at the time, his now wife. Like, I don't want my fam to get in and me not be there with them. Like, I can't let that happen. So he worked his tail off. He was on the school's basketball team. He's like, can't do that this year, y'all. So he told the coach, I'm not going to be on the team this year. He was like, all the extra things that he was doing, he's like, yo, that's not a priority right now. Because when I want to be, like, PT school is above all those things. Basketball, I could still play pickup ball. I could still do all this other stuff, but I need to lock in. And that sophomore year, he worked his tail off. And I think he had his first 4.0 semester. Once he saw that, he was like, oh, it's over. It's done. And so literally from then on, he was just locked the heck in to the point where he was able to build enough, good study habits that he was able to get back on the basketball team later on, right? But one of the biggest things that I remember is when he finally got accepted into PT school, that was what they said. They said, the reason why you have gotten in is because we saw how you responded to a rough start as a pre-PT. And I think a lot of us literally look at that and we're like, oh my goodness, like, this is going to define me. No, like, use it as an opportunity. So right now, let's say you've already graduated. Let's say you're like, yo, my undergrad was terrible. Cool. Show them how you're going to be resilient, whether that's retaking classes, whether that's using your career transition to your advantage. Just show them how you have grown, because y'all, PT, like, here's why. The reason why is because when you get into physical therapy school, they know it's probably the hardest education you would have had up until that point. Like, PT school is not easy. Don't let anyone tell you different. And if they said it was easy, they're just a genius. But PT school is not easy, and they want to know, how are you going to respond? How are you going to respond during the semesters when you have 18 plus credits and 9 different professors? Casey, you remember that semester where we had like all those contract professors that all thought, they all thought that their class was the only class in the universe. And I was like, yo, my goodness, like, I got like 10 of y'all, like, what in the world? But hey, like, how are you going to respond when that happens? Are you going to say, oh my gosh, I can't handle it? Oh, it's too much? Or are you going to say, dang, all right, I've never experienced this before. I've never had this many teachers before. I've never had this much coursework, but I know how to be resilient. I know how to respond when I start off. Like, shoot, if I start off a semester and the first exam that I take is terrible. Like, I spoke to a student 2 days ago who was freaking out. They're like, yo, I'm retaking this class, and the first exam, I did not do well on it. And now their first thought was, oh my goodness, because I didn't do well on the first exam, does that mean that that's how the rest of the semester is going to go? And I was like, no, like, it's your first exam out of 5. The question is, what are you going to do about it? So just understand that point number 1 is schools love growth. So take advantage of it. Number 2 is, I think past frustrations or obstacles are fuel. They serve as fuel. Like, that should light a fire. Like, I almost feel like sometimes when we're super comfortable, like, we do less than when we're like, yo, I got no option. I have no option. Like, if I failed a chemistry class, well, I could cry and whatever all day long, but I got to retake that joint. Like, I have no, like, it doesn't matter how much I hate chemistry, I have to take it, right? So if I realize that, then use it as fuel. Use it as fuel. So now when you're taking classes, now when you're, studying for the GRE, like, are you looking at your past and saying, yo, that's where I came from, and that's what I'm working hard to show that, yo, like, I can be resilient from that start. So use it as fuel every single day. Like, if you find yourself relaxing too much, and you've had, like, any student that finds themselves like cruising, but they had a rough start, I have to ask myself, man, like, 1, are they serious? 2, do they want this that much? 3, do they actually like understand where they came from? Do they actually understand that their start should be like their freaking turbo in their engine every single day to lock in, to focus, to, filter out the people that are distracting them and, pulling them left and right. Maybe they should not be hanging out, during the weekends and, clubbing and all that stuff. Maybe they should be studying for the GRE. Like I think sometimes our priorities are all twisted. So that's point number 2. Number 3 is I think it's a chance to have real perspective. And I think it's very similar to 2. Like we have a chance to have a bird's eye view and say, yo, like I've been at my bottom already. I think sometimes for those of us that might have not struggled as much, we don't know what the bottom is. But if we've been at the bottom, if we failed a class, if we've struggled on the GRE, you've already felt it. So can't get no worse. Right? Like sometimes we're just scared of what we don't know yet, but like it gives you perspective. Now you're like, okay, cool, that sucked. All right, great. I don't want that again, but I've already felt the worst that could possibly happen. So maybe it's not as bad. Maybe it doesn't define me. Well, if I'm studying for the GRE again, maybe the first time didn't define me. So we have to start changing our perspective. And then point number 4 is that it keeps you humble. Keeps you humble. There's no arrogance when I've struggled in the past. There's no cockiness. There's no entitlement. Just humility. Your job as a pre-PT is to stay focused, stay locked in, stay in the books. Like it doesn't matter what anyone says. It doesn't matter what family members say. Like we don't have any place for arrogance or trying to cover up our mistakes. Just stay humble, stay locked in, and that characteristic alone will take you further than getting into PT school. And it becomes a massive strength. So those are 4 things right there. Opportunity to show growth, using it as fuel, a chance to have real perspective, and humility. If you can do those 4 things and look at your past as that, well, suddenly you can actually start doing something about it. Suddenly you can start actually, like saying, hey, okay, cool, I can still control my future. Whether that means I have to wait an extra year before I apply or whatever, like I can actually control that because I'm saying to myself that becoming a physical therapist means that much to me. And if it doesn't, then ignore everything we said. But if it does, then that's what it's going to take. Casey, what are your thoughts, man?
You nailed it. I think we got everything. If you don't like understand now that you do have a clean slate and you can like take this now and run with it, then you need to just rewatch this video or listen to this podcast again. Because that's what you should feel like, okay, now, hey, this is it. Let's start from here and make sure I do everything I can to get into PT school. So rewatch this, re-listen to this, and let that sink in so you can get accepted.
You got it. Well, that's it, y'all. I hope that helped. For those of y'all that are watching this on replay and live, great to have you guys here. Tag a friend that you feel would benefit from this. There's a lot of students that really need to hear this message alone. And also, like Casey said at the beginning, go subscribe to our YouTube channel and the new series that Casey is putting out. 3 minutes or less, y'all. Just learn how to stand out, set yourself apart, but just understand, we always got your back. We're always here for you. If you guys are ever stuck, feel free to message us, reach out to us at contactpreptgrind.com is probably the best place to just message us. Just ask us questions. Let's help you get unstuck. That's our job, because our goal is to ultimately see you on the other side and welcome you into this amazing profession. So hope that was amazing. Y'all have a good one. Much love.